It was last week that Reverend Theresa announced her plans to return to California at the end of June. I'm certain many of us had some uncomfortable feelings and wondered, now what? Hopefully, I'll be able to answer some of those questions and perhaps soften that uncomfortable feeling and replace it with anticipation of our future. So first of all, let's begin with the nuts and the bolts. The purpose of an interim minister is to enable our congregation to call a successor minister based not on reflexively, but on the basis of our own independent identity, strength, and direction. In sum, based on our health. We are a growth-oriented, goal-oriented congregation, and we desire a ministerial coach for the purpose of stepping beyond our current size dynamic. We've grown these past 7 years in ways we don't even recognize. And this coming church year will clarify our strengths and our weakness. First, we will schedule a transition interview with the Reverend Nancy Bowen of the Mountain Desert District. She will interview the board, leaders of this congregation, and these interviews will help us to identify the goals that we wish to achieve. What do we want an interim minister to help us with? And at that same time, Reverend Theresa's exit interview will also be held. Second, the board will begin recruiting 5 members for an interim ministerial search committee. The search will be for a minister possessing important attributes that we ascertained during the interviews. They must be willing to be in town for 1 full month. Also, the board will be recruiting for the search committee. The search committee will look for and suggest a settled minister. This committee will be voted upon and or affirmed at the annual May meeting. Third, an application for an interim minister will be sent to the UUA April the 17th. We will then receive names of interested ministers, and the interim search committee will begin the interview process. This is a very fast interview action, and as I said before, necessitates the committee be in town for the full month. The contract for the minister will be August the 1st, 2014 through July 31st, 2015. In October of 2014, the search committee will post our position along with the full congregational record sheets. November through March, interviews will begin. The search committee will select the minister that they believe will be the best for us. In late April or early May of 2015, the congregation will host a candidating week. The ministerial candidate will preach 2 Sundays in a row, meet with various committees, and with members of the congregation. There will be a congregational meeting with only one agenda item, and it shall be, shall we call whomever to be our new minister? And there will be a ballot that will say yes or no. We're stepping into new territory. Yes, UUCO has called ministers before, but each incident is just a little different. We have worked with Reverend Theresa for 7 years, and much has been accomplished. In the summer edition, 2012 UU World, UUCO was featured as a breakthrough congregation. What an honor. I'd like to quote from the article. Look around the sanctuary on a Sunday morning in the Unitarian Universalist Church of Ogden, Utah, and you'll see children of all ages sitting with their parents. If you weren't paying attention, you might have missed that they weren't sung out to religious education classes early in the service. As the Reverend Theresa Novak sermon winds down, they're still in the pews, more or less attentive. It goes against conventional wisdom to have children in the full hour of UU worship as a matter of course, but it works at UUCO. And the church's embrace of multi-generational worship, excuse me, and religious education for all ages has drawn attention from across the state and across the Unitarian Universalist Association. And I end that quote. Now let me add a little here. We have religious exploration, but not education. And it's beautiful to watch our youth. Our older youth are now at the tables, overseeing the candles and the stones, while our younger youth collect the offering. We're watching the future of Unitarian Universalism in action. Outreach began in 2004 as a social justice action program. It was a once-a-week drop-in center for LGBT youth meeting here at the church. 10 years of growth later, and with a 501c3 tax exemption, outreach grew up. There are now 4 locations besides Ogden, with more on the horizon. Additionally, there is a website with a template for others who want to start similar programs. It's pretty obvious we are a growth-centered, growth-oriented congregation. Want to know how we got that way? I'm going to remind you of the lessons from geese discussion we had the latter part of 2012. I told you then that we could teach geese a lesson or two. So here goes. First of all, we are a welcoming community that encourages participation, which helps each of us break down any barriers that may exist towards establishing a relationship of trust in our congregation. We cooperate and listen with each other, and as each person's input is accepted and welcomed, we identify ourselves as community members and part of the team. As an exciting step in community building, we share non-threatening areas of our lives with each other. And when we see that others are genuinely interested in our contribution and our concerns, community trust has been developed and has grown. We have discovered that our uniqueness is not strange, but wonderful, and our community accepts and values us just as we are. The act we have of encouraging each other through affirmation has been crucial to the community building process. Appreciation has grown our relationship that we are worthy of love and praise. The reluctance to become active members has diminished, when we realize that others care about us. Through the affirming interactions we experience here, we get a warm, fuzzy feeling about our community and ourselves. Difficult situations naturally arise when we're together long enough, and personal problems, church-related problems. These are opportunities for stretching, and stretch we do. We have been able to move beyond our comfort level and learn that we are capable of accomplishing far more than we thought possible. We have learned to accept the good intentions of each other, and we recognize that we achieve much more in our community than we could as a mere collection of individuals. The Unitarian Universalist Church of Ogden has a deep sense of community, and we are ready to set and accomplish new, challenging goals. Working with Reverend Theresa has truly been a wonderful time of accomplishment. We love her. We'll miss her when she returns to her home in California, but we will always be grateful for our 7 years of dedicated work together. We did indeed accomplish so very much. In closing, I would like to leave you with an adaptation of the Covenant of the Pilgrims. We pledge to walk together in the ways of truth and affection as best we know them now, or may learn them in days to come, that we and our children may be fulfilled, and that we may speak to the world in words and actions of peace and goodwill.